woman named Tootie Smith, and that is her name, went on Tucker Carlson to vent about coronavirus rules regarding social distancing and how people should be careful during the holidays. And she decided to compare it to something pretty serious. Now, just so you know who this Tootie Smith is, she's currently serving on the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners and will soon be the chair after winning her November election. Let's watch.
We've been in a lockdown for 8 months now, Tucker. People understand what to do to be healthy. We have been browbeat over the head with wearing masks in public, which I do, by the way, with social distancing, to stay home if you're sick, be clean. I think our people have the intelligence, the education, and the independence to make their own decisions. We are adults. We do not need to be treated as second-rate slaves in our own homes.
Good for you.
Of course, that was his response. Of course, that was his. So Clackamas County is in Oregon. That's where she's from. Just wanted to make that clear. And yeah, they're concerned about the surge in coronavirus cases that we're experiencing all throughout the country. Comparing that to slavery, second-rate slaves. I don't know, Cenk. Why don't share your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Are there first-rate slaves? What the hell are you talking about? And you're comparing doctors telling you, please wear masks, and then the government officials saying, hey, you know what? If we don't stop this contagion, this virus, it will continue to hit and affect more and more Americans. There's already 250,000 dead Americans. 250,000 dead. And so if you're going inside of a restaurant or you're within 6 feet of each other, etc., wear a mask. And so we're trying to help with the public health. And she's like, slavery. Do you have any idea what happened in slavery, you moron? So no educated person would talk about doctors trying to help you not get sick and die with slavery, where people were whipped, murdered, raped, sold as property, had their kids taken away from them and sold to other people. Do you have any idea what kind of pain that must have been? Any idea? Oh, I had to wear a mask. Second-rate slavery. And Tucker Carlson's like, good for you. Way to minimize people's pain and pretend that if white Republicans are ever put upon in any way that they didn't agree upon, well, that it's the same as slavery. Because in their ridiculous, privileged minds, they think like, if I don't rule over you and tell you what to do with your body, you're not allowed to do the, you got a pregnancy, I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do with it. Sex, no, I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do. Marijuana, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you can consume and not consume. I'm gonna control your life. You wanna control my life to help me? Control my life, make me wear a mask so I don't infect other people? How dare you? This is like slavery. It's the worst form of privilege. They sicken me.
The state wants people to do reasonable things. Like, I don't know why this has to be so difficult. And I get it, like, people are acting as if the state is telling them, you have to, like, we're on lockdown. You're not allowed to leave your house. That's not what they're saying. Officials say these risk reduction measures are critical in limiting the spread of coronavirus, reducing risk in communities more vulnerable to serious illness and death, and helping conserve hospital capacity. That's a big deal because we don't have enough hospital beds. The 2-week freeze measures include limiting gatherings, both indoors and outdoors, to no more than 6 people total, and for no more than 2 households. So it's these rules are gonna last until December 2nd. There are other restrictions, such as restaurants being takeout only for a little while. Gyms are being closed for obvious reasons. And then limiting capacity in spaces that are open, okay? So local health officials said social gatherings have been driving the increase in coronavirus cases. Officials add many coronavirus cases have been linked to Halloween parties, weddings, and birthday parties. Cases in Oregon now total 53,779 since the pandemic first began. So she doesn't really have any regard for other people's lives, that's clear. She's comparing something that's pretty logical to something that was an awful part of this country's history, that was not logical in any way, that was cruel and horrendous. How do you unite with people like this?
Okay.
Right? How do you have a conversation? How do you negotiate with people like this? You can't. They're unreasonable.
You can't even talk sense to them. So we have dear family friends who are Republicans and now are in the cult, and so they believe everything Trump said. They're elderly. So the family friend who's a really good friend of my dad is in his 80s. They have coronavirus now because they went to a church without masks on because they believed that, that it's no big deal. So I hope to God that they are okay and they survive. I don't know yet, but it's has deadly consequences. So we had already broken a record a couple of weeks ago when we had 100,000 cases in the country, more than we've ever had and than any country's ever had. Now it's nearly 200,000 cases a day. Guys, the election is over. So this, if you thought, oh yeah, it's propaganda for the Democrats, and said all the doctors in the country are lying on purpose to help the Democrats, and it's a global conspiracy, because they believe in insane things like that. They think all the climate scientists in the world, all of them, from India, Russia, China, US, Norway, everywhere, they're all lying. The temperature readings do not show that the Earth is getting warmer. Now they think all of the doctors in the world are lying, but now the election is over, so why would they continue to quote unquote lie? Nope, I'm not gonna believe reality. So now we have out of control virus, worse than anywhere on the planet by a lot, because we have moron and cult leader in office who's unfortunately influencing all these people. And then look at their idiotic way of thinking. They say, oh, they just want to control our lives. Like Tucker Carlson with this insane segment that he did before. They're gonna, as soon as Joe Biden wins, they're gonna make you drink Starbucks coffee every day. Why would we care what you drink? Why would we care, you idiots? And the reason is, it's projection. They want to control every part of your life, just as I told you earlier. They assume we want to control their lives and that we're enjoying putting masks on them because, we now have control over you. I don't give a damn what you put over your mouth, your head. I don't care about your body. I don't care what you consume. I don't care at all. The reason for the mask is because of how it affects other people. So you can say, oh, now next thing you know, you're gonna get to try to control my fist. No, you can do anything with your fist as long as it doesn't actually land on anyone else's face, okay? That's an obvious law. And so at the end of the day, they think we get a kick out of it. We don't. I love Thanksgiving. I want my family over for Thanksgiving. I want my mom to cook the delicious turkey that she cooks, and I want to celebrate it with my loved ones. But I'm worried about infecting my 83-year-old dad, 73-year-old mom, if we get too close, if we do it indoors, etc. So that's why they say be careful. Not because they enjoy oppressing my mom and dad, you idiots. It's because we're trying to save their lives.
And look, I think the biggest problem here is that messaging from lunatics like the Tootie, the woman that we just heard from, resonates with some people in this country, not because they feel like, doing reasonable things like, smaller gatherings, staying away from people who are vulnerable to the virus, not because they think that it's unreasonable, but because a lot of them have been hurt economically as a result of the federal government essentially abandoning them during this pandemic. There hasn't been another round of stimulus. Small businesses are shuttering throughout the country. So if you're a gym owner, you're angry. You're legitimately angry, and you have good reason to, because you see this as government overreach, right? The government forces you to shut down, but you're not given a lifeline in order to continue, your business once this pandemic is finally over. So there's a lot of negligence on behalf of our federal lawmakers. There's a lot of anger in the country as a result of that, and unfortunately, lunatics like Tootie end up resonating with people because of that anger, because of that frustration.
Oh, well, I'll end this otherwise disastrous story on a fun note. So when you take the lunatic Rudy and now the new lunatic Tootie, I guess you would have Rudy, Tootie, fresh and fruity.
Not fresh.
Though not
but definitely
fresh,
loony.
Definitely not fresh. When your brain juice is leaking from your head like Rudy's was, it's the least thing that could be called fresh. So thank you, Anna, for always delivering the truth on TYT.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.